Many people say that music is a universal language. If that's the case, I would like to use music as a platform to talk about health. My name is Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm a full-time practicing physician who loves music and the way it affects our brains, our bodies, and our well-being. I would like to invite you to tune in where we interview musical artists about health matters that are important to them. But the truth is, we'll be discussing topics that affect all of us. From mental health to body image, cancer screening to stroke, our health is truly our greatest asset. So the goal is to open the dialogue on health to embrace topics that we don't always like to talk about in a way that's raw, candid, and lit. Hopefully, these discussions will improve the health of our community. After all, your health matters to me, and if I can make it sound more beautiful, then that's something we should all listen to.
Music and medicine, when you hear those words, how do they speak to your heart?
Music and medicine, music is medicine. You feel me?
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Really excited today to join you, young lady, Kathleen Bradley, my co-host, always looking dapper.
Thank you. I love that young lady.
Yes,
It's always such a pleasure to be here. He's going to talk all about his accolades and his career. We want everybody just to welcome Mr. Glynn Turman. Woo, let's hear it. Come on, everybody out there. Come on. All right.
Introduction.
We don't have a real audience, but everything is out there. Welcome. Thank you so very kindly for coming out today.
Oh, thank you, my darling. You look fantastic as always. You don't change. You're just still that beauty. They used to call you Barker's beauty. She's one, but she's our beauty. You know.
Thank you, Glenn. That
Still is.
means so much for me.
Sure.
I'll let you have the first question.
Sure, no problem. And you're our national treasure.
Yes.
So, gosh, there's so much to cover. And I spent a lot of time in New York, 30 years. So I want to kind of go back to meeting and working with a woman who was first starter herself and what she accomplished, Lorraine Hansberry.
Oh, yeah.
How did that relationship develop and you get a working role at the age of 12?
Well, I've told the story once or twice, but it's as a result of my mother's relationship with Lorraine Hansberry, which developed once my mother and I, a single mom she and I from Harlem, where I was born, and lived until the age of about 7. And we moved down to the West Village, Greenwich Village in Manhattan. And there was an eclectic group of very talented people in that community at that time, and we're talking about the 50s. Yipes. But that group of people that was in my mother's circle were amazing people. You know, James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry and Miles Davis and Charlie Bird Parker. All of these people were in her circle. There were just a few black people, couples and or artists themselves. My mother wasn't a particular artist, but she was a big, vivacious reader, you know. And she and Lorraine Hansberry, being two black women. Lorraine was not single. She was married at the time. But I knew her as Miss Hansberry with the collie dog. Mm. Now, I'll tell you how that happened. Because we kids used to play marbles on the street, or a game called Skelzies on the sidewalk. And we'd be playing on the sidewalk, you know, so all of our focus was here. And periodically, a little beautiful collie dog would walk through our game, followed by a pair of the most beautiful legs. And, you know, we're all 10, 11 years old. So we see this dog go by, then we see those legs. Without looking up, we say, "Hello, Miss Hansberry."
That's funny. Oh. Wow, I can envision that.
One day, my mother says, "You know my friend Miss Hansberry?" I said, "Yeah, with the collie dog." She says, "Yeah, she's written a play. And there's a part for a little boy in it, and she's wondering if you'd be interested in auditioning for the role." And I was an avid baseball player fan. Jackie Robinson was my hero at that time, so I was playing a lot of stickball, is what we used to call it. Yeah. And I said, "Well, if it doesn't interfere with my game on Saturday,
You'll fit it in."
Yeah, I'll try and fit it in." Can you believe that? And because I had no idea what an audition was, I'd never been in a play. I didn't know what they're really talking about. But come to find out, it was an audition. I wasn't afraid because I thought the part was mine, so I didn't know why all those other little black boys were in the hall.
Right.
You know, what are they doing there? Yeah, what you guys doing? You know, this is my role. And I guess that naivety is what helped me get the role, you know. But that's how I ended up in that production, I was on that production for over a year.
It seems like such an extraordinary work for its time, the controversy, the complexity. Talk to us about sort of how that's been emblematic of a lot of the roles you've taken.
Yeah, I started with the bar pretty high, you know. And I took that responsibility later in my career to try to maintain that level of import, you know, with the roles that I was involved in, with the productions. If I didn't really just have to eat and take, you know, I have to take a job.
Right.
I gotta eat job. You know, you got to take those gotta eat jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But always with a consciousness of what I was a part of and what I was bringing to the table. But that came from working with Sidney Poitier at such an early age, and Lou Gossett Jr., you know, Lloyd Richards, the director, you know, all of these wonderful people. Philip Rose, brave producer who, you know, went against the Broadway system and said he was going to bring this all-black cast, all Negro cast in those days, to Broadway, you know, and so he bucked that whole system that was designed not to let us appear, you know. So I was aware of those efforts because my household, my mother and her sisters and friends, you know, would all speak of the importance of what this groundbreaking event had done. You know, when the reviews came out and we were nominated for Tonys and so on and so forth, you know, that was a monumental thing. So at an early age, I was aware of the power of storytelling.
You know what? I recently, probably within a year or so, remember going to your screening of your documentary. And as long as I've known you, there are certain things, obviously, we don't know about everybody, but I was so impressed about how you went about producing and had the whole documentary shot. And I encourage everybody and anybody who hasn't seen it to see it. Where can they see that?
They can see it on Peacock, The Legend of Glynn Turman. It's on Peacock. It's on Tubi. It's on I don't know, different streaming platforms now.
And people should see that and your struggles and what have you in life and all that you went through and the feast and the famine and everything in the family and all that was just so very interesting. I'd like once again to encourage people to see it. And, you know, you have so many wonderful claims to fame and probably Coolie High. We have to talk about Coolie High. You know, we had Lawrence Jacobs on here as well. And that was your buddy, Cuddy, another good friend. And that movie is so iconic. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how you got involved in that movie?
Got involved with Coolie High through the efforts, thank God, of my dear friend Michael Schultz, who was the director of this motion picture. And we had done a play together, a Ron Milner play called What the Wine Cellars Buy, and we did it at Lincoln Center in New York. And we remained in contact, and one day he came to me and said, hey, you know, I got a script I'm developing with a writer named Eric Monti. He said, I want you to be in it. We're going to make that happen. And he did, you know, and it was it put me and Larry J on the map, you know. You can see him.
There you go.
As a matter of fact. You know, but Preach and Coolie High was a wonderful experience. We had so much fun. And the young actors who were part of it were part of the community itself, Cabrini Green, which unfortunately is no longer there in Chicago where it was. But some of the people who lived in that area are still there because when we were doing Fargo, I'd see a lot of the cats and the gals come out and say, "Hey, preach, I was in the such and such a scene. I was in that scene at Martha's," you know. And so they still call me preach when I go to Chicago, and it has lasted and endured over these many years, you know.
It has. And a whole new audience with the younger people
Yeah.
now. It's evolving.
Yeah.
These movies that are very
like to see it.
meaningful and different.
Yeah.
You don't see movies like that anymore. And these little nerdy kind of kids, but they're adventurous and they're doing all these crazy things and stuff. And even back then and those days, it was okay to kind of do what you were doing then.
Yeah.
Try to do some of that stuff. Now
Right.
it'll be a whole nother thing, right?
Another thing.
But
right.
we thank you so very much for being a part of that.
Yeah.
Legend
It was fun. It was
just one of the things,
Yeah.
obviously. So you've done so much other theater. What is some of the most favorite or favorable theater that you've done or played?
Well, several. Theater is my first love.
Right.
So I try not to ever go too long without doing theater. Of course, not too long ago, I was able to do almost back to back 2 or 3 August Wilson plays. You know, for which I was able to achieve some acclaim for my performance and for the productions themselves. 2 Trains Running, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and what's the other one? Joe Turner's Come and Gone.
Right, that's right.
The latter 2 I did at the Mark Taper Forum, and the other I did at Ren Brown's Ebony Showcase. The Ebony Showcase over here on Washington.
Right, right.
But it was at we did Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which Felicia Rashad directed us in. And Denzel came to the performance and came backstage and kind of pulled me aside and said, stay ready. We're going to do this as a movie. You know,
That's
well,
right.
my motto was stay ready to keep from having to get ready.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
They
That's
had to
right.
tell
You
me
don't have
twice.
to-
You did do that.
And sure enough, we went to the production for Netflix. We did Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, starring the fantastic Viola Davis, you know, and Coleman Domingo,
It was excellent.
and Chadwick Boseman's last production, you know. So
It hurt me though when you got killed. That hurt me.
It hurt you.
That hurt me.
Yes, it hurt me. I didn't think about that.
Not as much.
I know that hurt you. I'm like, I'm
No,
still
that's-
saying you killed my Glynn.
Yeah, that's the iconic writing of
Right.
August Wilson, who
Yeah.
just, you know.
Some things are unpretentious. That's why I
Sure.
like him because
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
unpretentious.
yeah,
It's not the plot that you've seen before. His
it's real.
writing is so creative and unique
Yeah.
and twined with so many different aspects of the characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Very wrong.
You're absolutely right, Kathleen. That's his gift. You know?
It is absolutely.
But the thing I like to always point out is that it goes back to the import of that original production of A Raisin in the Sun, because many don't know that August Wilson's mentor was Lloyd Richards, and Lloyd Richards was the director of the Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun.
Oh, whoa. Okay, there you
You
have it.
see, so that original production that Lorraine Hansberry spawned had some
Generations.
iconic, most talented people, you know, that you could ever imagine, and lifted and did so much more for our race as a theatrical contribution of people, and for the landscape of the stories that we were able to tell later, you know. Lloyd Richards and I was there, I was so honored to be there. He just got his, the street where the Ethel Barrymore Theater is, which is where we did Raisin. That street is now named Lloyd Richards Way, you know, 46th Street.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so.
Speaking of naming and not jumping ahead, of course, we're going to talk more about your career, but I understand somebody's getting a star on the Walk of Hollywood Fame 2025. Who might that be?
Thank you. Yeah. And that's something Yeah.
Well,
It's
so
long
well
overdue.
Sure.
And do you know exactly where about it's going to be?
My wife and I, Joanne, we just went for a scout on up and down Hollywood Boulevard to try and pick a space.
Oh, you're able to pick your own
you
space?
can pick your own space.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Time. So we've narrowed it down to a couple of spaces.
When might this be?
I'm thinking somewhere, and I didn't. You learned this before I even said it.
Okay.
Before I even said it. I think somewhere maybe around Juneteenth.
Oh
Nice.
yeah, that's very
apropos.
apropos.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That makes
Glenn.
sense?
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Long overdue.
Sure. And we would be remiss if we didn't pick on yet another role that is iconic and emblematic and continues to bring in new generations. And that's the role that you played on A Different World.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, having had Don on here. Talk to us about sort of, like you said, that was a character that we didn't always see so often, right? Our military man on TV.
Right. Colonel Taylor. Dr. War. It's just, a character and a production company that, again, made such inroads in the contribution and the thought pattern of we as a people. That one production, which lasted for 6 years, I think, did more for getting young black kids to go to a historically black college than any other thing that has been done.
Right.
The HBCU enrollment went up like 80%. It's still going up because we just recently on the new tour for A Different World. So we've even gone to the White House, and for Kamala, who went to Howard University, so she was a big fan of the show. And so you don't know what effect that you're going to have as a result of the roles and the pieces that you're a part of. You don't know how that's going to strike the community, how it's going to affect what goes on. When we went to the White House as a group, one of our liaison was this pressed and creased young Army officer brother, who was like, he had it going on, and he was guiding us through to the different chambers and so on and so forth and blah, 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 blah. And everybody was stepping back and giving him his props, And when the smoke all cleared, he said, "I'm here because of you."
Mm-hmm.
So what are you talking about? He says, "Colonel Taylor, Different World. I joined the ROTC in college because of what I saw you guys do on that show.
Wow.
And now I'm a liaison at the White House."
Mm-hmm.
Said,
Wow. What an influence, right? What an influence.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Everywhere you go.
Yeah, So, I've been blessed in that I've been put in most influential places.
Yes, you have made a great impact.
Influential
Everything you've
places.
done, pretty much.
Has been quite a blessing, and the challenge, of course, for me is to try to remain in that light.
And also, you are a rancher. He's a cowboy.
Sure.
And, there have been some movies and different things of that nature that they've used black cowboys and people involved in. And what is your take on some of the movies that maybe perhaps you were involved in or should have been involved in? Some of the other people we know that are ranchers, and not ranchers, but cowboys that we know that they got overlooked.
Well,
a couple of
there's as you know, Kathleen, because you're right there with us on the front line, so to speak, and doing all of what we do with not only the camps and the rodeos, the Bill Pickett rodeo, and of course our summer camp, but some of the players who are here in Hollywood who are fantastic and keep that whole history alive, from the Reggie Dawsons to Babatundis to
James Pickens Jr.
to the Bill Pickens, Jim Pickens Jr. And so we have a community that we have a great time. trying to maintain some sort of awareness about what our contribution has been to the American landscape, and we continue to do that, where the Bill Pickett Rodeo tours the country. We just had our final in D.C. not too long ago.
Right.
I don't know when this is going to air, but that, that's where the finals were held in D.C., just outside of D.C., Bowie, actually, and Bowie, Maryland. But, it's been 40 years that we've been doing this.
Wow.
40 years.
40 years.
I've been with them for the 39 of the 40 years as a Grand Marshal.
Yes.
And so for us to get anything going for 40 years.
It's such a great, wonderful learning experience for young kids to see this, and all the families and people that bring them out there, and everything that you guys do is just, incredible. Tell us a little bit about your branch, the, what is it, 9X?
Nine Winds Ranch.
9 Winds Ranch. Tell us a
Winds.
little bit about that.
Well, the 9 Winds, I didn't grow up knowing my father's side of the family very well. My father and I became close once I was a grown man, a young man, but a grown man. So I didn't get that history until late. Mm-hmm. And I had already, by that time, bought a ranch, some property up here north of northern L.A., and had already been into horses and rodeoing and planting peaches. We had a family peach farm going on we had about a couple of thousand peach trees that we were working and harvesting and all that sort of thing. I was doing that while I was doing A Different World. And finally my dad calls, and my auntie, she answers the phone, and he asked to speak to me, and she said, well, I'll let him know, because he's out on his tractor and he's plowing. And so she said, Dad said, he's doing what?
Right.
Now you got to remember, I grew up, born in Harlem, New York.
Right.
I'm a Manhattan, New York boy. That's where
City slicker.
That's the city slicker. A city slicker, but a country boy at heart.
Clearly.
And, but I didn't know where that came from, you see. And so he tells me finally, when we do get to talk about it, that his dad was a farmer, got property in Georgia, that my cousins are still on that property farming the land that my granddaddy left them, And over the years, this is some years now, we've grown close, and I've been down to the farm, and my kids have been down to so I ended up being third generation farmer, farmer rancher, and it's my theory that some things are just in your DNA, even as a storyteller, I believe it's in my DNA, when we were brought over from Africa to this country, we didn't come on our own accord, and we weren't able to exercise our given skills that we had in the homeland, which were multiple skills. There were farmers, there were iron workers, there were medicine, doctors, lawyers. So those things are in your DNA, whether you know it or not, and they manifest themselves at some point in this country as we, try to find ourselves and find what we're good at. And sometimes it's just like, how do I know how to do that? Or why am I drawn to this? And it's because of that rich history that we have that we know not of.
That's right. You know, my son came to your camp, my son Terrence, and it was just, and I've been there a few times. It's just a wonderful opportunity for young kids to be able to learn more firsthand how it is to be more into the wilderness and learn about the horses and the ranch styles and all that hands-on stuff, especially for a lot of the children who probably are a little more underprivileged, who will never get an opportunity to even get out of Los Angeles and venture out to different places. And your nonprofit organization, and where can people go maybe to make a donation?
The Nine Winds Ranch Foundation.
Isn't that 1X?
IX, Roman number 9.
IX, okay.
IX wins.
Yeah, please
like
make
the
a
winds
donation.
that blow. IX wins. But that was, it came out of a promise that we made to Coretta Scott King, Mrs. King, who called a conference after the 92 uprising, the Rodney King uprising in L.A., and she called a conference and called myself and my wife, Joanne, to a conference that she was having to help find out what could be done to quell the unrest that was going on.
Oh.
And so what I blurted out at some point in the meeting, not knowing what I was there for, I was going to say once I got there, that we're going to start a summer camp at this little patch of dirt that I've got up at the top of the hill there in Los Angeles. And she said, okay, Glenn, I'm going to hold you to that. And meanwhile, Joanne is kicking me under the table.
You don't have enough to do, huh?
You know, but we were able to start. I thought it was going to be that one summer, and it's been 28 years or something.
That's
like
wonderful.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's talk about, you have been nominated twice for an Emmy. You won an Emmy. You've had multiple other awards. You've won numerous NAACP awards. And with the one Emmy that you did win was, if I'm not mistaken, for In Treatment.
In Treatment.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show, but the one that Glenn did, and it brings tears to my eyes now because it was so touching, and you had to have won that Emmy for that year. And if you didn't, I think we would have started rioting. And especially Joanne. Me and Joanne were promoting. You know how you have to vote for Emmy and promote and stuff and everything. And she was promoting hard. So was I. That performance that you gave, this man was literally tears and just streaming down his face, and the emotions that he was exuding. I cried watching that, and I cry now just thinking about it. Tell us a little bit about what you bring to yourself to exude, or that character that makes you just get so deeply involved in mostly every character that you do, but that one in particular.
Well, without going into too much detail, because it's a journey just to go into the detail of what that is, you know, in your life's travels, you have the ups and the downs. And I always say that artists, actors, responsibility is to be able to file those different emotions or experiences away. It's like putting a Band-Aid over a wound, or a scab over, letting a wound fall into a scab, but then it never heals because you have to always pick it in order to use that experience for your work, which is all it really boils down to. It's my job to not heal so that I can indeed touch the things that have moved me. And if I want to move you, I've got to be moved. And I can't do that by lying. So that particular show was as a result of obviously a very painful experience in my life, in my family's life. And so I ripped the scab off.
Yes, you did. Boy, did you ever. That was so wonderful and convincing. And you also played a very interesting role in Scandal.
Yeah.
Yes, you played the father of...
Billy's father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us a little bit about playing that role.
Well, again, I'm so sorry that I have all of these traumatic experiences.
It's okay.
I'm really okay, guys. I'm fine. I'm fine.
That was a deep character too, and dark, but
Yeah, but I knew where he was. I knew where he came from. And that's what you try to do as an actor. You try to find as much common ground as you possibly can, experience-wise. And Billy's father in that episode was an imprisoned man and been in prison for many, many, many years. And so, once again, you have to touch what you know.
Yeah.
You have to go for what you know. So, our experiences, life's experiences, put you in places that you never thought you would be, but you end up being, and that's, you remember Bea Richards?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
of course.
The great Bea Richards.
Yes.
The great Bea Richards and great Frank Silvera, wonderful actor. They had a school, an acting school, and they practiced it at Inner City Cultural Center.
Right.
And it was a method that they had. It wasn't the method like Stanislavski's method or Lee Strasberg from the Actors Studio. It was called the theater of being.
Mm-hmm.
And in that theater of being, they tell you what it is to be a human being, and make you explore what that means. And they start out by giving you the definition of human being. And the definition of human being is existing in a perfect state, lacking no essential characteristics. And as an actor, if you're able to tap into that human being in yourself, not the man in yourself, not the woman in yourself, not the gender, not any of the other stuff, just the being, the human being, you can then communicate with any human being that you meet. And that is a part of my method of acting. If you were to ask me if I had a way to go about doing things, and that human experience of being is vast,
And you're able to express it well.
Sure. So I want to tread carefully here. At a very young age, I lost a lot of my family. And the show has a medicine bent to it. What I wonder is, how do you take those challenges, which you've been public about, and we don't have to go into all the detail. How do you take those challenges and maintain this balance? I've got to be there for my family. I have to be strong, but I also have work to do. And sometimes I can take those emotions and tap into them.
Yeah, it's a risky business, And I hate to say that it's hit or miss, because everything fluctuates. If you're raising a family where your kids are youngsters, that's a different need than when they're teenagers, and that's a different need than when they're parents themselves, and what part of you has to try to be there for those instances, those growth spurts, I say things happen in cycles of 7. I don't know where I get that from, but do you believe that?
I believe it.
I believe that things happen in cycles of 7s, and so at that cycle of 7, where are you for your youngster? 7, now it's 14, now it's 21, what parts of you, because you're hitting your own cycles of that as well, what do you understand to keep you relevant and able to deal with the obstacles that they're going through in their cycles? And at the same time, what do you dare give the world that is going to force your offspring to share with the world because they're not getting all of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's a slippery slope sometimes. It pays dividends in some ways, and in some ways, you're forever in debt.
Yes, Glynn, that is so true. You know, you are a musician in your own right. Did you know that?
Yes.
Glynn, you play the harmonica
Yeah.
and also keyboard,
A little bit.
a couple other things. So, and I've heard him in jam sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Victor Lando, and you guys are just going at it, having a good time. And you know, yes, and your correlation. How do you feel about music as it relates to medicine?
Music is medicine. You know, it's funny you should ask that. My dear, darling mother-in-law, who I love madly, is going through some mental changes now because she's 97 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She was the most vivacious woman you ever want to meet. And just yesterday, we put her on a boat ride, a cruise. She's gone on a cruise with Joanne's sister, you know, Joe's sister, Allison, my sister-in-law. But I'm so used to her being vibrant and lively, and she's a Jamaican, and she will not get rid of the accent. She's been here, I don't know how long, but she's always been here, you know. But still speak like you just got off the boat. And now she's not that person, and there's a frown on her face and everything that just breaks my heart to see.
Right.
But at times I'm able to sit down at the piano and just tinkle for her. And that music, that tinkling, seems to be a balm, a salve for whatever is that torture is in here, you know. And you can literally see the change come over. And I'm no great player. I'm just, you know, but I can see the music have its effect, working its miracle, you know, something, because I can't find the words to say, Dottie, I love you, you know, please come back, you know. But the keys in the music, whatever, seems to reach that spot.
It does. We're all wired so differently, and even being wired within the musical world, and how, like, I believe sometimes the keyboards are inside our minds, the black and whites, that even when you're playing it, you can almost envision the keyboards as you can see them and relate to the music and the melody. And it just makes you want to do things that you normally wouldn't do when you're sitting in silence. And it's just so incredible. I love music, and for healing reasons. People have been known and proven that it definitely will help heal you.
Yeah, I believe it.
And we must keep that going. A lot of the elderly homes that I've visited and have had family members go to, you know, it's kind of quiet in there, and they're playing the TV and stuff. But you know what? If they had more music happening and going on for some of these people, I think their lives would be extended much longer.
You're absolutely right. We've got a dear friend that's in one of those homes right now. You know what I'm talking about, and I'd bring him music and just play it. You know, just sit it there and play while we're sitting.
That's it. So important. Put it in their ears or whatever. Just, man, face lights up. You just want to get up there. You want to shake a leg or do whatever. If they can't even walk, if they can, and go out down the hallway, put the walker and stick, and just, it exudes happiness throughout the whole area, and it just changes the whole atmosphere.
Change the whole deal.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
We'll end on this happy note. Some of our colleagues say that we're going through a Renaissance right now. You are busier than you have ever been. Talk to us about some of the things you're up to.
Well, like you say, you know, I thought I was, every time I tried to get out, they ordered me back in. Kevin Costner's epic, Raisin. I'm in episode 2 that we're waiting to have distributed. I look forward to that. I just finished a wonderful 2-episode arc on Cedric the Entertainer's neighborhood. Yes, where I played Tashina's father.
Okay.
And we had stupid fun.
Oh, wow.
just crazy fun.
Did you get to work with Sloan? Was she there? Sloan Robinson?
Yeah. Tom, you're talking about Robert Townsend's.
No, Sloan Robinson. Doesn't she play Keisha's, Letitia's mom or auntie or somebody in the neighborhood? Sloan Robinson? You know who I'm talking about, right? I thought she was in it. Maybe it was another show. But
Robert Townsend's daughter is on the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know.
And that was delightful. I didn't know that. And I hadn't seen her since she was like that. But yeah, so I've got that happening and on my way to Canada to continue this second episode, or not, second season of Percy Jackson in the Olympics.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot that in Vancouver. And I play half man, half horse.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
that's right. I love Percy Jackson. I remember that show.
Yeah.
Now, you just got back, or you were there last year, about 6 months in Ireland, Scotland, working on a film.
We were in Wales.
Oh, Wales.
Great time in Wales.
Tell us about that.
Oh, a series I wish I got.
6 months. Weren't you there 6 months?
Yeah, I was there 6 months in Wales, which was amazing. Loved Wales. Craziest thing.
Who would think?
Yeah, who would think? Wales?
Oh.
You know, and who would think there were so many people of color in Wales?
Is that right?
Crazy. And they speak Welsh. I mean, it's not like they're born and raised.
Cockney, most of us.
Right. Most of them born and raised in Wales.
Right.
But yeah, I had a great time over there. We were doing a series called Black Cake with a wonderful, wonderful series that I wish I'd gotten picked up. Yeah, we just found out it didn't get picked up, but it's a fantastic show. It's on Hulu. I think you can see it on Hulu.
Okay. Good for you.
Adrian Warren is the wonderful actress who's the lead of that show.
And you never know. Sometimes these things have a second life, third life.
You never do know. They get put in the right hands nowadays with all this streaming.
Yeah.
You never know. Some people like it, and you get a group of folks that really get it going on and start it, and they're like, watch this, watch this. A lot of word of mouth and on streaming television right now.
Delightful. Any area we haven't covered that you wanted to touch on?
Challenging times and times we have to take an opportunity, the best opportunity to make these times worth the struggle. To know that these times are no time to back off of whatever it is, whatever progress we've made, has to be capitalized on and has to be continued and can't be taken for granted. You know, that this whole new generation of our kids, you know, who are now becoming parents, you know, their contribution is their step-up time.
Right.
You know, and so these are wonderful times, the best of times, the worst of times kind of thing, but they're exciting times because this is when you know you're alive. You know, this is when you know you have a purpose, just as you guys are doing this wonderful show.
Try to make a difference.
You're making a difference on this show, and I can't thank you enough for having me.
Thank you.
And we feel honored. It's our pleasure. Truly our pleasure. You've heard it here from Glynn Turman himself, a legend, a maverick, but also a revolutionary actor who really at a time that we did not have a place in the theater on Broadway at all, was able to be part of an experience that he continued to replicate in so many different careers and so many different roles, producer, director, and so many awards, but continues to be our icon, our colonel, and our leader, even today, throughout the challenges that we face. So I think the underlying message is certainly go out and vote, be willing to make a difference. And as he says, be willing sometimes to tear up that wound someplace that hurts to really go to a deeper place that you can take to others. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.